Good morning and welcome to Southland Today. I'm Michelle Merker. A survey in this year's New England Journal of Medicine found 1/3 of all Americans seek relief from their health problems by going outside of mainstream medicine. An estimated $14 billion a year is being spent in visits to alternative providers. Joining me today to discuss this trend and what treatments are available is Dr. Randy Martin. He's a doctor of Oriental medicine, acupuncture, nutrition, herbal medicine, and homeopathy. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Kind of a wide variety of things that you do. And I'm sure you've heard that 1/3 statistic now because I know it surprised a lot of people that they are turning outside of alternative medicine. Why do you think that trend is?
I think people are looking for safe, harmless ways to treat themselves. Natural is probably the key word. People are increasingly aware that they don't want to be putting drugs and other toxins into their system that generally will then give them some sort of side effect later on down the line.
So you see this as almost being part of the health trend. If I take better care of myself now down the line, I will be a healthier person.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a generation of people who have grown up on antibiotics and drugs and eating a lot of junk food, and myself included when I was younger, of course. And I think people are getting a little dissatisfied with that, and they're wanting to do something a little bit different so that they might not have to inherit the same types of health problems that they would otherwise be susceptible to, that their parents or grandparents had.
There's a lot of concern, though, over who you should see on an occasion like that. It's very easy to look down the list of your HMO doctors or whatever and pick one out of the list, but maybe a little more difficult when seeking the advice of someone like yourself. Do you have some advice for people who are looking for people outside of mainstream medicine, qualifications they should be looking for, this type of thing?
It is difficult. I don't think that the general consumer has it very easy at all. The best way is for a personal referral, so to ask friends if they've gone to anybody and how they like them. The second way to do it is to actually interview people. And if a potential doctor like myself is unwilling to spend some time on the phone or for a 5 or 10 minute consult just to get to know the person, well, that's not a good sign to start out with. And the next thing that someone should do is read as much as they can about the subject so they can ask intelligent questions. All the bookstores now have books on holistic health, homeopathy, acupuncture. So someone can go into a little phone interview, let's say they have PMS or headaches, and ask some intelligent questions. And they can expect to get intelligent, patient responses instead of just being rushed. One of the nature of this type of medicine is the relationship with the doctor, with the health practitioner. And so you want to go into it with the approach that this is going to be someone who's going to care about me, who's going to listen to me, who I can have a good rapport with. And the final thing that one should really base their decision on is how it feels in the intuitive approach. Because we don't really know how healing takes place. And for real healing to take place, one has to feel good about their process and what they're doing. They have to have control over their body. And this is part of the whole holistic movement now, to take control of one's body, to be part of the team in decision making.
I'm interested in that you are well versed in a number of different areas, the homeopathy, the acupuncture, the herbs and things like this, whereas people there may just be an acupuncturist, or there may just be someone who specializes in this or that. Obviously, the availability of you to these various things, I'm sure they're all kind of interchangeable to a degree. Someone probably doesn't come in and say, I have PMS, I need acupuncture. You may sit us down and say, well, maybe the acupuncture isn't right for you, you need something else. Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah. Part of the reason I do, basically 4 things, homeopathy, acupuncture, herbs, nutrition, is because certain modalities, as they're called, are more effective for different people. Everybody who has PMS doesn't need the exact same treatment. And that's another difference between this holistic approach, is someone comes with PMS, I don't give everybody the same herb or the same acupuncture point. And likewise, some women, let's take for PMS, for example, the nutritional might be the only area that, with the change in nutrition, endometriosis is a good example. Nutritional change will sometimes really clear it up, or cysts or fibroids and those kind of things. Whereas another person, let's say, who has migraine headaches, they might have, some people have a preference. They'll say, I only want acupuncture, Or some people say, I hate needles, I only want homeopathy. Well, I'll tell them what their options are, and which, in my experience, after speaking with them, would be the most effective. But then we'll always make a joint decision. I'm not going to force someone to have an acupuncture treatment. Or some people, for instance, think homeopathy is a placebo. Well, I've been practicing homeopathy for 12 years. I'm not going to try to convince them if they don't want it. So then we'll go with the herbal approach. So every person is taken as an individual, and I think that's the best way to sum it up. I try to see the insides of a person and really appeal to what's going on with them, because that's what's going to work. If they want that particular thing, then that's going to be more effective.
How do you diagnose people? Do you need to rely on some traditional medical equipment and structure and things like this? I mean, obviously you're not a psychic or something. Yes, oh yes, you have PMS or endometriosis or something. Do you use some traditional medical equipment and diagnostics in order to get a good idea of what's going on with the person?
I use both. I use the traditional Western forms. Almost all my patients get blood tests. If they have x-rays, let's say it's a pain problem, then I want to see the x-ray reports also. I also work as a team with Western medical doctors. So if there's something in the diagnosis that I can't figure out, I'll send them out to one of my medical doctor friends and get that aspect of the diagnosis, then come back and treat. But in the less traditional department, what I use is the Oriental Medical Pulse Diagnosis and the Oriental Medical Tongue Diagnosis. Those, without knowing anything about a person, will often tell me exactly what I need to do, and then I'll talk to them to confirm it. In addition, I have about a 6-page intake form that goes over a complete health history, likes and dislikes, food cravings, family history. So I really get to know a person well. And also part of Oriental medical diagnosis is looking at a person. So depending on what's going on in their face, how their body, and this kind of thing, it can tell me a lot about genetically what problems they might be predisposed to getting.
That maybe they hadn't heard that they'd had some of these problems before. This may be the first time they've been diagnosed. Good. Well, we need to go ahead and take a break. We'll be right back.